me, on paper, someone will always be better than you. Always. Someone will always be more successful. They'll have more money. They'll have more followers. They'll have a bigger congregation. They'll always something's going to be bigger, better than you if you compare them. And if you're in this comparison game, guess what that's going to do? It's going to lead you to insecurity. And when you're insecure, you're going to do one of three things. You're going to quit. You're going to settle for less than your best. Or you're going to start copying. You're not going to be authentic to yourself. You're going to copy. What's up, guys? I'm excited. I'm picking back up something that I've been so passionate about. The podcast, season 2, we're picking it back up. A lot has happened since we ended season 1. If you were a follower during season 1 of the podcast, we did 52 weeks straight. It was awesome, and I really enjoyed it. I felt like we really dove into some powerful topics. We really kind of tackled some things. I think we helped a lot of people out. I had pastor friends and other church leaders all over kind of emailing me and in the conversation, and we had a lot of great views on it. It was awesome. And so I was gearing into season 2. We kind of said, we're going to plan this out the beginning of 2020 and kind of figure out where we're going to go with this. I actually filmed and recorded 2 months worth of podcasts, and then all of a sudden, COVID-19, right? That happened, right? And so then I was like, I don't know if this stuff I'm really talking about is going to be relevant to where everybody's at during this pandemic. So I kind of put a pause on it. And through that, I kind of had a real shifting on kind of where I wanted to go with the direction of the podcast for season 2. We're actually doing a full rebrand, kind of shifting some things out based on where I'm at. And so I kind of want to just share the things that I'm dealing with, what I'm going through, what I'm learning, right? Half the things, 90% of the things, not half the things that I talk about, I've read from someone else. I've learned from someone else. I'm just kind of sharing, giving it to you guys that maybe you haven't been introduced to, because there's a million people that are smarter than me out there. And I just have the fortunate opportunity of reading a lot and really diving into it. So I want to share. But around the end of last fall, around 2019, I really felt like God was shifting me with this concept, finish well. I know that's kind of a weird concept when you're in your 30s, right? I was 36 at the time. Finish well, you're young. But I kind of got this idea in my mind. You don't decide to finish well when you're 50, 60, or 70. You decide to finish well when you're in your 30s and 40s. You start making the choices now to spiritually, mentally, emotionally, and through your leadership to finish well. And so I really just started diving into those kind of areas that I've been looking at. And I felt like throughout this year, the one thing God's really kind of shown me is that most importantly, we've got to have the spiritual, mental, emotional, and relational health to finish well. When you're a leader and you have influence, which we all do, it is so important not just to be able to draw the crowd because of your charisma, but to build a following based on your character. Can we finish well? And so those are the thoughts that have been going through my mind. So this is kind of what I'm going to do. I'm going to kind of really kind of focus on that. I'm going to bring some people in periodically that I feel like are so mature spiritually and emotionally and mentally. I'm going to share the things that I'm learning from what I've been reading, and we're going to grow together, and we're going to kind of drop it. So I'm going to drop them twice a month, first and third week of every single month. I'm going to drop a podcast. And I don't know how long I'm going to do it. I don't know how long I'm going to be it. We're rebranding this thing to Cultivating Churches because I got this idea in my spirit. If we're going to cultivate churches, we got to cultivate leaders, and that comes from cultivating your soul. So we're going to really dive into that. And so today I want to talk about something that's, I think, so important, especially right now coming out of a global pandemic. It was really imperative before. It's even more imperative now. And that's this idea of not getting caught in the comparison trap. Listen to me very clearly. The comparison game will destroy you. It will trap you. It will choke you out. And right now we're in a global pandemic where nobody knows what's going on. So everybody's comparing what are they doing? And am I matching up? Am I stacking up? And listen to me, on paper, someone will always be better than you. Always. Someone will always be more successful. They'll have more money. They'll have more followers. They'll have a bigger congregation. Always something's going to be bigger, better than you if you compare them. And if you're in this comparison game, guess what that's going to do? It's going to lead you to insecurity. And when you're insecure, you're going to do one of three things. You're going to quit. You're going to settle for less than your best, or you're going to start copying. You're not going to be authentic to yourself. You're going to copy. But guess what? The same as somebody's always better than you. Guess what? On paper, somebody's always worse than you. There's always somebody that's smaller, has less followers, less money, less what you would call ideas of success. And if you're starting to find yourself in that comparison trap with those people, comparing yourself with those people, guess what it's going to lead to? Pride. It's going to lead to pride. Guess what's going to happen? One of three things is going to happen to pride. You're going to ignore your weaknesses. You're not going to grow. You're going to get rigid, which means you're not flexible. You don't change because you think you know it all. You think you're the best. Or you're going to become inward focused. Everything's about you. And if you're caught in this cycle of comparison, it's going to destroy who you are. Now, we all know that. Everybody knows that. I'm not telling you anything you don't know. We all know this, yet we all do it. Why do we all do it? Why do we all I do it. Why do we always do it? And it's because there's something I say a lot. I may even said it on the podcast before. If you follow me at all, you've heard me say this before. I say it a lot because I got to remind myself of this a lot. I got to constantly tell myself because I don't always do this right. Actually, I do this wrong a lot. Is we base success on the wrong metrics. We think the metrics of success is statistics and comparisons. Let me gather all my statistics and compare them to someone else, right? I'm going to gather my statistics. The problem with that is statistics is a linear thing. It's too narrow-minded. It's looking at it with a 2D mentality. You don't see all the sides when you just see statistics. I'm a sports guy, so I don't know if you ever watch sports, but you ever watch sports and you'll hear a commentator say, the statistics don't actually tell the story of what happened in the game. The stat line looks different than what actually happened. Why? Because a lot of those stat lines, a lot of those statistics were garbage stats, right? The game was a blowout. So there was a lot of garbage yards or garbage points, right? But if you watch the game, it told a whole nother story. That's what statistics are when you're comparing them. Some of that are so linear, they don't tell the whole story. If you just look at somebody's bank account size, or you look at how many followers they have, or if you look at whatever size auditorium or attendance they have, or if you look at whatever is going on in their life, those are a linear stat line. It doesn't tell the whole story. And what do? Is we take those stats and then we compare them. And if I'm better, I feel good about myself. If they're worse, I feel bad about myself. What you've got to learn is the true metric of success. The true metric of success, and you'll hear me say this all the time too, is stewardship and influence. Am I stewarding what I've been given and influencing people for better with that? Now, why is stewardship better? It's more of a nuanced way of looking at things. Because stewardship means I got to look at the story behind the stats. There's a story behind the stats, right? How long have you been doing it? What's the size of the population of the city that you live in? Right? What was your startup cost that you started with? What's the equipment you have? How many mentors did you have mentors that gave you an inheritance or gave you a platform to step off of? Right? What's the median household income of the people that do you understand? All of those is a different storyline to the statistics of which you have. And everybody has a different storyline. So if you're just going to compare statistics, they don't match up. It's like comparing apples and oranges. They're both fruit, but they're different fruit. How can that actually compare each other? It's kind of looking at a real estate agent. And if you just looked at the statistics, you would say, okay, this real estate agent sold X amount of money this year, and this real estate agent sold this amount of money this year. This one sold this much. This one sold this much. Well, you'll look at the statistics, and if you're based on statistics comparison, you're going to go, well, the one that sold more, they're better, right? They got more money, so they got to be better. Okay, yeah, that seems obvious, but let's look at it through the stewardship mentality, right? Okay, well, this one is in a metro city where the median household income is about 40 to 50% higher than this person that's not necessarily in a rural area, but a semi-rural area. So the median household's lower. They have more clientele basis, and the homes they sell are going to be higher in value than the homes they sell. However, this one over here may be the 70th best real estate agent in their city, and this right here may be in the top 3. Based on stewardship, now the game has changed because there is a nuance, there is a more story to tell to the statistics. Or maybe this one had higher in sales, but they sold one multi-million-dollar commercial property, but this one is one of the top-selling residential properties out there. But this one sold such a large property. Do you understand what I'm saying? What you've got to learn to do is you got to stop comparing yourself to the oranges when you're an apple. You got to learn to sit back and understand you have been given something, and are you stewarding it? You've been given opportunities, and are you stewarding those? You may not have started with as much startup cost. You may not have had mentors like someone else have. You may not be in a large area like someone else is, but you have been given XYZ, and God doesn't expect you to be them over there. He expects you to be excellent with what you've been given. Learn to steward it. That's the story of the talents, right? One given 1, one given a 2, one given 5. God didn't expect the 2 to be the 5. He just expected the 2 to multiply what they were given. And even when the 2 ended up with just 4, didn't even end up with as much as the guy with 5 started with, God still said, well done. Because God didn't expect him to be 5. He expected him to be the 4. That's the point of what you got to learn. And if you want to find joy in life, listen to me, if you want to find true joy in life, learn to find it in your identity. Learn to grasp it in who you are. And when you understand who you're created to be, then be the best version of yourself. Quit trying to be someone else. Because when you try to be someone else, you're going to be a carbon copy of someone else, which means you're going to be a duller version than the original. Nobody wants a duller version of the original. They want you to be the original. You need to be that. And then through you stewarding your opportunities, influence the world to be better. Influence other people to be who they're called to be. Help other people be excellent. Because I promise you, after you start discovering this and pouring your life in, it transforms who you are when you don't just hoard, but you pour. So I'm going to challenge you with this. Quit the comparison scroll. Quit going on social media and looking at their pictures and looking at their wins and start saying, man, my wins are better, so I'm better than them. Or my wins are worse, so I'm worse. Or man, their auditorium looks so amazing. Mine looks like... Quit doing all that, okay? No. Quit getting on social media and trying to self-promote to make yourself feel so good because you're competing with the Joneses. So you got to go over and you got to get the perfect angle so it makes look your auditorium's packed out, or you got to have the perfect angle of your car like you have the best car in the world, or the house. Quit doing all that, okay? Use social media to encourage people, celebrate people, add value to people. Because I promise you, when you quit trying to compare, you're going to find the joy of identity. And that's who you're going to find you were called and created to be. All right, guys. I know this ain't a polished video. You're going to notice as I do my podcast, I'm going to put my foot in my mouth and stumble. I'm not trying to do multiple takes. One shot. We're going to knock this thing out and we're going to talk. So if you enjoy what we're going to talk about, because we're going to really go there, I'm going to talk about what strong character looks like. We're going to talk about the people around you. I'm going to talk about coaching. I'm going to talk about mental health. We're just going to go there this year and really talk about the things that we need to be healthy. So if this is something you want to listen to, something you want to check in, you can either subscribe to us on YouTube and hit that notification bell so you always get one of these videos popping up, or you can subscribe to us on our podcast. We're on all the major podcasts and listen to us the audio version. Let's grow together. Let's cultivate our hearts, cultivate our souls, cultivate the leaders as we cultivate churches. Love you guys. Pray God's peace.